I couldn't run for 3 minutes without gasping for air. I was diagnosed with asthma and slapped with an inhaler. But that was just addressing the symptoms, not the real problem. If you're a runner who's short of breath way too fast, this video is for you. As a physical therapist and run coach, I've lived this and seen runners struggle with this as well. But today I'm going to show you how I improved my breathing and running with some holistic approaches. So, the problem I face, right? Chest tightness, panic breathing, and early fatigue during my runs. Worse in cold weather, fast starts, and high intensity. And I relied on a rescue inhaler, but I still felt limited. Had my albuterol, my rescue pump, but realized lungs weren't the only issue. Pacing, conditioning, and breathing control mattered. And if you want this Breathing Plus Run Guide, it's inside my free online run group, a link below. So what the exercise-induced asthma feels like, right? Chest tightness, burning lungs, shortness of breath, right? Panic breathing during your runs. Symptoms spike in cold air, right, during the winter. And then sudden intensity, like really ramp up, like try to do a hard effort, try to run fast. And it's common in beginners and deconditioned runners. It's often confused with just weak lungs. I just got to train my lungs. Well, there's more to it than that. And the breathing panic cycle, right? It's again that tight chest, faster breathing. So you start faster breathing and then you start getting these shallower breaths. And the shallow breaths leads to a panic response. You start panicking, panic causes worse symptoms and early stopping. And then you assume my cardio is bad, but that's not always true. So nasal versus mouth breathing. See, your nose is supposed to filter and humidify air. Great for warm-ups and the easy runs. And now if you could train yourself to do that, if you're like, whoa, that's out of the question, you can start with just walking, right? When you walk, try to just breathe through your nose. And then as you get more comfortable, see if you could do a run walk where you run for, let's say, 15 seconds or 20 seconds. You breathe in through your nose, and then you walk for the remainder of the minute. Again, try to breathe through your nose. And if you need to breathe through your mouth to catch your breath, that's fine. But try to see if you could train yourself to be more of a nasal breather versus a mouth breather, because so many people are mouth breathing either when they're just sitting at their desk, right? You're like at work, and your mouth, like you're out of breath, you're just winded working at a computer, behind a computer screen, right? You have to retrain the way you breathe, your breathing pattern. And it can be retrained. I used to be a mouth breather myself, even though I was just, again, doing a task like just reading a book, right? So retraining myself, okay, while I'm just sitting still, try to breathe in through the nose. While I'm going for a walk, breathe through the nose. While I'm going for an easy run, warming up, try to breathe in through the nose. Now, yes, you may have to breathe through your mouth as you're going at a faster pace. That's normal, right? If you're picking up the intensity, you're really, picking up on intervals or a tempo run, that's fine. You might have to do mouth breathing. But if you can, try to make yourself more of a nose breather for at least a warm up or maybe even a portion of the easy run. Again, do that run walk method I talked about to really start improving your ability to be a nasal breather, nose breather, because the nose, again, helps filter the air, humidify the air, and also helps decrease those symptoms of, feeling breathless, feeling like those asthma-like, exercise-induced asthma-like symptoms. And as you get really experienced, like a more advanced runner or elite runner, you may actually be able to do the nasal breathing even at faster paces. There are some people who do a full speed workout just breathing through their nose the entire time. But that's really high level. There's still also many advanced or elite runners who breathe through their nose and mouth at faster efforts as well. So don't feel too discouraged that after faster paces, you have to breathe through your mouth as well, in addition to the nose. But again, don't feel like you have to force the nasal breathing with, speed workouts or tempo runs or hard workouts. But the goal is controlled rhythm, not perfection. Again, take your time with this. Give yourself a couple weeks. It's not going to improve overnight, right? Adaptations, it may take months, right? It may take, some people may see some improvements in the first 6 or 8 weeks, but then it may take 3 months. It may take 6 months. Heck, it may even take a whole year or two to really get to the point where you're completely comfortable with nasal breathing, right? So don't get too discouraged if it's not happening overnight. So some tips that helps my running, where it starts slower than you think. This helps prevent that panic breathing breathe spike, right? When you go out for the warm up, or let's say you're doing a run or a race, start slower, right? So some people call this pacing yourself, right? Go a lot slower than you think you have to do, or getting a negative split. You might even go ridiculously slow, where it might feel like you're jogging or getting passed by people on a stroller. That's fine, right? Just go nice and comfortable. Slow it down in the first few miles to allow your body to warm up. Use the breathing rhythm, 2 for easy runs. So this is where you inhale for 3 breaths, then exhale for 2 breaths, right? And there's different ratios out there. So then as you go faster, you might inhale for 2 breaths, exhale for 1 breath. And some people like to flip it. Some people like a longer exhale. So you might actually inhale for 2 breaths, exhale for 3 breaths, Right. Find what works for you. It's not a hard science. You can experiment with what type of rhythmic breathing you like, whether it's the 3-2 or 2, exhale to inhale ratio. So what this would look like, right? So you would take a step, let's say with your right foot, you would continue to inhale, right foot, right foot, and then exhale for 2 steps as you're exhaling, and then continue the cycle, right? So essentially inhaling for 3 steps, exhaling for 2 steps. You take walk breaks to help reset panic breathing. And there's no shame in walking, whether you want to walk for like 20 steps or you want to walk for 2, 3, or even 5 minutes. That's fine. I've gotten to the point where I'm comfortable walking for 2 or 3 minutes. It's fine. There's no shame in that. You could take a walking break and still complete the run. Actually, you could do the run-walk method to complete an entire marathon, right? So don't be, embarrassed about using walking breaks. I know some athletes also do like to run a mile, walk a mile, and just alternate between every mile marker between running and walking. That's fine. Or slowing down the pace. So you do these run-walk intervals to rebuild your tolerance. And then I also like doing just 3 runs per week to give your body some time to recover between run workouts, right? So you may have some runs middle of the week and then 1 long run on the weekend, and then doing some strength training twice a week. And then just doing daily walking where you're also working on the nasal breathing and just making sure if you don't already walk on a daily basis, make sure you walk. Now, if you had a strenuous run workout, that's fine. You could take it easy from walking. If let's say you had a long run today, you could take it easy from walking today. That's fine. But on days when you're not running, especially on the non-running days, go walk for 30 minutes, right? So walking is another type of low impact cardio, even though it might not feel like much, but you could, go walk faster, brisk walking, race walking, and also practice nasal breathing as you're walking, which is going to help improve your breathing and make breathing easier. So when you get to running, you're like, okay, you're actually retraining your respiratory muscles as well. And then if you have asthma, right? So use the traffic light guide here. So green light, being easy, safe to train. So if you're feeling easy with your breathing, okay, you have the green light. Yellow light, you're coughing, you're wheezing, you're feeling pressure, chest tightness, slow it down. And use your rescue inhaler as prescribed. If you're not sure, talk to your doctor how your doctor wants you to use your inhaler. Give your doctor a call if it's been a while, you forgot the instructions. There's no shame, just get into contact. It's a prescribed medication, so your doctor should give you the instructions on how to use it. Red light, you're having severe breathing difficulty, right? Stop running altogether, whatever the activity, or even if you're doing some other physical activity, just stop altogether and seek medical help if you're having like severe, like you're about to like pass out because you're essentially having an asthma attack. So carry your rescue inhaler, especially if you're diagnosed with asthma. Talk to your doctor on how you should be using your inhaler, right? Especially before runs. I know for myself, I was told before my workouts, 15 to 30 minutes, I would take 2 puffs of the rescue inhaler and then, go out for the work. And that was fine, actually, when I would use the inhaler and then do that. I didn't want to be over-reliant on the inhaler. So that's why I also wanted to explore alternative medicine ways or lifestyle ways to actually improve my health and get healthier. But if you're prescribed the medication and you need it at least in the short term till you get fitter and healthier, that's fine. And then slowly you could taper off if you notice that you don't need the inhaler as much. Obviously, talk to your doctor if you're going to be tapering off an inhaler. But just going to show you that even though you're diagnosed with asthma, it is possible to improve yourself, improve your health and your fitness, right? And I understand people can have different cases. Some people are going to have mild, some people are going to have more moderate or severe cases. Some people may have to use the inhaler lifelong, right? Again, but that doesn't mean you just can't improve your health, right? So always see where there's ways you can improve your health and your fitness. So some lifestyle factors that improve my symptoms, right? Make sure I was getting consistent quality sleep. When I was sleep deprived, I noticed my symptoms would get worse. So I'll try to sleep at least 7.5 hours, improve my recovery and breathing. Sleep was really important to feel recovered. I also had a sleep apnea that was undiagnosed for years. So make sure I was snoring at night. So I talked to a doctor, got the sleep apnea, took care of the sleep apnea. That was a big game changer for me as well. Also did some lifestyle things. So to lifestyle habits, healthy habits to improve that as well. So not only improve my asthma, also improve the sleep apnea. Nutrition, lower the inflammation, better symptom control. Now, this may vary for people, but as a general rule, getting rid of junk food or minimizing or even eliminating, at least short-term, can help, especially if you're overweight or obese, right? Because it's going to put more, when you're overweight or obese, you can have more pressure, just more fat tissue that's pressing down on your airways, making it harder to breathe, become more of a mouth breather. And when you get leaner, it becomes easier to breathe. There's less stress on your organs, less stress on your respiratory organs, your breathing muscles, essentially. And then if certain foods can actually cause more inflammation in the body, usually fast foods, cheeseburgers, pizzas, soda, etc. Right? So just minimizing it or eliminating altogether can actually make I noticed this myself when I would eat McDonald's all the time and fast food and junk food or candies, sweets, whatever. I would have more, difficulty breathing. But when I was eating healthier, eating cleaner, I was able to breathe in. That doesn't mean I wouldn't have a cookie from time to time or some candy from time to time. But when I really drastically remove it, because I used to have it on a daily basis, like soda on a daily basis, when I really drastically minimize it to such a small thing, I feel healthier, able to breathe easier. Another thing that I noticed for me was dairy intolerance and gluten intolerance. So with dairy, when I was having too much dairy products, so milk, cheese, I also noticed more difficulty breathing. By minimizing it, right, almost to where I barely have it, I notice I'm able to breathe easier. My nose isn't like full of mucus and stuff. I'm not having to rely on the inhaler when I'm going out. My airways just feel clear. The gluten intolerance, right now, I was also sensitive to wheat and bread products. So when I switched to gluten-free products, gluten-free bread, I noticed another reduction in my symptoms, also able to breathe easier. And the thing with gluten for me, I was also getting joint pain when I had too much bread or wheat products. So by getting rid of the gluten, that joint pain just disappeared, which is wild. Even though, I went to doctors, they saw some inflammation in my joints and they couldn't explain it, like what the heck was causing it. And then just for me, getting rid of the gluten intolerance, the wheat products also made a big difference. And again, every now and then I'll slip up and have some wheat products, some gluten product. Then I'm okay. Then I notice it the next day or two for the next week. But then when I eliminate it again, I feel better again. Again, everyone's not going to have the same symptoms I do. I totally understand that. I appreciate that people can present differently. Some people can have gluten and dairy and have no problems. Great. And they have no problem breathing. Fantastic. Good for you. But if you want to make some lifestyle changes and you notice that you're having difficulty breathing, you're excessive mouth breathing, even when you're just walking or going for an easy run, they're like, okay, what can we do to improve the health, your fitness, your nutrition? Another thing that also helped for me was meditation, right? Reducing my stress and anxiety, because sometimes I would get stressed out or panic if I started, feeling the chest, this tightness. So try to be more mindful. Do the meditation, slow it down, more nasal breathing, which helped reduce that, rapid, shallow chest breathing so I could breathe more through my diaphragm, the diaphragmatic breathing. And this gradual conditioning was better than doing random bouts of high intensity efforts, slow progression, run-walk program, easy runs, mostly easy runs. Because I used to be the type of runner who would run hard every single workout. I'm like, got to run? Easy run? Nah, let's take a red line. Let's go hard. But then all those hard runs were making it hard for me to actually improve my general aerobic condition. Because yes, you do have to improve your heart and lungs. And how you improve your heart and lungs? Through easy training, easy zone 1 and 2 training. That also improves your aerobic conditioning. So easy run, walk. And then getting your body composition to a healthy level. All right. So many people think that it's normal to be overweight or obese, especially if you live in America. And unfortunately, a majority of Americans are overweight or obese. So like 74% of Americans are overweight. But that's actually not normal. That's abnormal. It's actually better to get to a healthier weight. And if you are overweight, try to get yourself to a healthier weight because it's going to make it easier to breathe. And then again, posture is a big thing, right? So if you're slouched, if you're walking slouched, you're running slouched, it's going to tighten up your respiratory muscles. It's going to tighten up your chest, your shoulders. So open up, roll your shoulders back. It's going to make it easier to breathe when you have good posture, right? Because think about it. If you're like this all the time, it's harder. My breathing, even the way I speak has changed just because I have my head forward down and, bent forward. When I'm here, it's a lot easier to speak. So really be mindful of having good posture when you walk, when you run, when you sit. Try to have a good posture. And I like to think of this soda can analogy, as you can see here, that the muscles of your postural muscles, this also includes your diaphragm, it's part of your breathing, your multifida, your transverse abdominis, your back extensor muscles, even your pelvic floor. When they're all stacked on top of each other, like good posture, it creates a nice stable base, like a can, where in 3 dimensions, it's supported on all sides, which makes breathing easier. You're more efficient. You could run for longer, and it makes a big difference. And people don't even think about this, don't even realize the impact of posture and training the muscles that make up your posture. So bonus, strengthening the breathing systems. One of the biggest, most important muscles for the breath is the diaphragm. So you do diaphragmatic breathing drills, train your diaphragm, right, is slow. Inhale slowly, inhale, fill your lungs with air, feel your abdominal wall expand, breathe out, feel your abdominal contract inward. Do that for like 5 or 10 minutes. Do it on a daily basis. Heck, you may even do it 2 or 3 times a day. This makes a big difference, even though it seems very simple. Trust me, guys, it makes a big difference, especially myself and even the runners I've coached. Box breathing also can help. do the rhythmic breathing, which I talked about earlier. And if you're more advanced and you just like gadgets, there's actually inspiratory muscle training devices. So here I got pictured the power lung. I have a power lung myself. I don't use it as often, but when I'm, really like gung ho about using it, it does also improve your breathing muscles. But I'm more of a fan of things that I don't have to use equipment for, like the diaphragm breathing or the box breathing. But if you want to, you can get the device, and it can be useful. And there's different devices on the market. I just like the power lung because what I personally use. But you could look at the reviews, and there's other inspiratory muscle training devices. It's essentially like doing resistance training for your diaphragm and your lungs and all that. And then obviously building up your aerobic base. That also improves your aerobic respiratory efficiency. You're doing more walking. That's why I talk about the walking daily. The easy runs or run-walk method, that improves it. Heck, you could even mix it up where you could do incline walking, weighted walking. You could do rowing, biking, swimming. Any kind of cardio activity also improves your respiratory efficiency. And again, try to do nasal breathing if you're going for an easy bike, or nasal breathing if you're going for a weighted walk or ruck. And then strength training. So do full body strength training. You want to train your upper body. You want to train your core. You want to train your lower body. Things like squats, deadlifts, lunges, split squats, planks, side planks, even bench press, overhead press. All the muscles of your body are interconnected. There's this interconnectedness of the system. So don't just train your lower body, train the full body. And that actually also improves your breathing efficiency and makes it so you reduce your fatigue, so you're more fatigue resistant and less panic breathing. So what happened after I fixed this? Longer runs. I was able to run for longer. I was able to complete half marathon, full marathon without the panic breathing. Less reliance on the inhaler. I was actually able to get rid of my inhaler for most of my runs. Every now and then, if it's like winter weather, or if I've been like sleep deprived or eating a crappy diet, I may have to get some tightness in my chest. I might have to use like, a puff or two with the rescue inhaler. But for the most part, I rarely use it at all. I go throughout my day-to-day. I do most of my workouts without it, right? Like 99% of them. With a very rare exception of like some winter weather, extreme winter weather and poor diet, poor sleep. And then what else I know? So better pacing, better breathing control, improved aerobic capacity and confidence, and able to run without getting wind in the first 5 minutes. And I could complete a full like marathon in like around 3 hours or so, 3.5 hours. So inhalers can be necessary and life-saving. Always consult your doctor, especially if you had like an asthma diagnosis. And, generic run coaching is not a replacement for medical advice, right? If you're dealing with asthma, it's been undiagnosed, go to your doctor, get it diagnosed, see what medical treatments are out there. Obviously, you want to make sure it's properly diagnosed and medically managed. And then you can integrate these other tips with the exercise and lifestyle approaches to further enhance and improve your breathing. Structured training can really improve your tolerance. And many runners need pacing conditioning, not just medication alone, right? Because if you just rely on the inhaler, but you are overweight or obese, or don't take care of your posture, don't do any strength training, right? Don't strengthen your muscles. That's not good either, right? You can use the inhaler, but also improve your health and fitness overall. And if you struggle with getting winded while running and want help, I'll help you improve your breathing and your running plan. I have a few spots open for private one-to-one coaching to help you run faster and breathe easier. Link in the description to book a free strategy call. First come, first served. So lessons learned. Lesson 1, not all breathlessness equals weak lungs. Lesson 2, pacing conditioning are massive factors. Lesson 3, controlled breathing is better than panic breathing. Lesson 4, run smarter, not harder. And lesson 5, structure your plus aerobic base, change everything.